Men today are making themselves weak, not because society is crushing them, not because women have changed, but because they have lost their own value. They seek validation, they react emotionally, they let their ego control them, and then they wonder why they aren't respected, why women are no longer drawn to them. The truth is simple. If you lack principles, if you can't control yourself, you will always be weak. But if you understand and apply these 7 rules, you will transform completely. You will become the kind of man women cannot ignore. Watch until the end of this video, and you'll know exactly what to do to break your limitations and level up. Focus. Because this might be the most important thing you ever hear. If this is your first time visiting the channel, hit subscribe and like so you don't miss out on exciting upcoming content. Here's a truth most men refuse to admit. The moment you crave a woman's validation, you put yourself in a weak position. Not only does this lower your value in her eyes, but it also makes you lose control over your own life. Have you ever felt this? You text her, but she doesn't reply immediately, and suddenly, you feel anxious. You try harder to be funnier, more interesting, more impressive, just to get a compliment or a little attention from her. You tell yourself that if she acknowledges you, then you'll feel better about yourself. But here's the problem. That moment never comes. The more you chase validation, the more you lose her respect. Women are drawn to men who are confident, men who don't need someone else to tell them they have value. They are attracted to independence, composure, and unwavering standards. When you live without needing external validation, you radiate a powerful energy that naturally pulls others in. On the other hand, when you seek approval, you give off an energy of neediness and insecurity. Women sense this instantly, and it kills attraction. Think about the men that women admire most. They are not the ones begging for recognition. They aren't texting nonstop, waiting desperately for a response. They don't change their opinions or personalities just to please someone. They set their own standards, live by their own values, and let the world decide whether to follow them or not. Breaking free from the validation trap isn't easy, especially if you've spent years relying on others' reactions to feel worthy. But it's a necessary shift if you want to become a stronger man. Start by setting goals and standards for yourself. Stop doing things just to impress her. Do them because they align with your values and vision. When you develop true confidence, the kind that comes from within, you will no longer need validation from anyone. And ironically, that's when you become more attractive than ever. Silence is a weapon, but most men don't know how to use it. They rush to fill the gaps with explanations, justifications, or worse, meaningless chatter just to keep the conversation going. They think if they don't talk, she'll lose interest. But the truth is the opposite. Silence creates attraction. A man who knows when to stay silent controls the situation. Think about the most influential men in history or society. They are not the ones who talk too much. They speak less, but when they do, their words carry weight. They don't over-explain because they understand that excessive words weaken the message. When you embrace silence, people listen when you finally speak. In relationships, silence keeps you in control. A man who is too predictable, too eager to respond to every question, text, or request, becomes an open book. There's nothing left for her to figure out. And that kills attraction. A little mystery, a little unpredictability, and sometimes strategic silence create a much stronger pull than any smooth words ever could. Silence is also a tool for emotional control. When you're angry, silence keeps you from saying things you'll regret. When you're uncertain, silence gives you time to think instead of reacting impulsively. When she challenges you with tough questions or provokes you, silence shows that you are unshaken. A man who masters silence is a man who refuses to be controlled by the emotions of others. The key is to become comfortable with silence. Don't break it just because it feels unfamiliar. Let her wonder what's on your mind. Let her make the effort to figure you out. And when you do speak, make sure every word matters. A man who controls silence is a man who controls the situation. Do you know what truly makes a man attractive? It's not looks. It's not money. It's not sweet words. What makes a man irresistible is the life he builds for himself, a life full of passion, purpose, and relentless growth. Most men make a critical mistake when entering a relationship. They shift all their focus onto the woman. They make her the center of their world, losing their own identity in the process. They abandon their hobbies, sacrifice their dreams, and rearrange their entire schedule just to please her. They believe that by prioritizing her above everything else, they'll earn more love and respect. But the opposite is true. When you make her the center of your universe, you become boring, predictable, and less attractive in her eyes. Women don't want to be the sole purpose of your life. They want to follow a man who is already on his own journey. They are drawn to men who have passion, ambition, and an unstoppable drive. When you focus on personal growth, you don't just elevate your own value. You create an effortless attraction that requires zero chasing. Building an irresistible life means having clear goals and actively pursuing them. You have a career you're passionate about, hobbies that excite you, and a life that doesn't require anyone's approval. You don't need validation from her, your friends, or society. You simply live with purpose. Imagine a man who spends his time in the gym, working on his own projects, learning new skills, and enjoying life through friendships, adventures, and personal achievements. He never needs to chase anyone's attention, because his presence alone is magnetic. That is the kind of man women want to be around, not because he tries to please them, but because he is part of something bigger than himself. At the end of the day, if you pour all your energy into chasing a woman, you will always be in a weak position. But if you pour that energy into building the life you want, she will be the one chasing you. There is nothing more attractive than a man who knows exactly what he wants and is willing to do whatever it takes to get it. We have the power to make a difference. Hit like on this video and share a positive comment to spread uplifting energy. Together, we're creating a compassionate and supportive community where kindness thrives, inspiring more people to live with purpose, strength, and positivity. If you don't set boundaries, others will set them for you. If you don't respect yourself, don't expect anyone else to. A high-value man doesn't let anyone, including women, cross his limits without consequences. Not because he's arrogant, but because he knows his worth and refuses to tolerate disrespect in any form. Many men fear setting boundaries because they think it will push women away. They're afraid of being called rigid, difficult, or worse, afraid she might leave. But the truth is, a lack of boundaries makes you weak and easily manipulated. And nothing kills attraction faster than a woman realizing she can do whatever she wants without any pushback. Women will test you. They will push your limits to see if you are truly the man you present yourself to be. They will show up late to see if you'll let it slide. They will say provocative things to see if you'll lose your composure. They will see if you tolerate nonsense. If you constantly compromise just to keep the peace, you have already lost. She may never say it out loud, but deep down, she will lose respect for you. Setting boundaries doesn't mean being controlling or aggressive. It means you have standards and you don't compromise them. If she repeatedly shows up late with no valid reason, you don't argue, you simply stop making time for her. If she speaks to you disrespectfully, you don't beg for better treatment, you show her that you won't tolerate it and walk away if necessary. A man with strong boundaries commands respect. He doesn't need to demand it. His actions alone make it clear. If someone can't respect his limits, they don't belong in his life. The irony? When you enforce boundaries calmly and firmly, not only will women respect you more, but everyone around you will. You become a man that others take seriously, not because you ask them to, but because you've built your own value. If you want respect, start by respecting yourself. Set your boundaries and stand by them. The right woman won't leave because of it. In fact, she'll be drawn to you even more. If you let emotions control you, you lose. Men today fail in relationships not because they aren't good enough, but because they are too easily controlled by their own emotions. They react instead of control. They get angry when provoked, panic when challenged, and become desperate when ignored. That's why they are always in a weak position. A high-value man does not let emotions dictate his actions. He can feel everything: frustration, anger, happiness, sadness. But he does not let them control him. He acts based on principles, not impulses. Have you ever seen a man lose control in front of a woman? He begs for attention, gets angry when ignored, or scrambles to fix a situation that he should have simply ignored. That makes him weak instantly. Women are not attracted to a lack of control. They are drawn to composure, unpredictability, and the confidence of a man who knows he does not need to react to everything happening around him. When you detach from emotions, you make yourself more mysterious and attractive. You do not react immediately to her challenges. You do not get involved in pointless arguments. You do not panic when she acts distant. You observe, evaluate, and act in a way that benefits you. The way to achieve this? First, stop investing too much in anyone too soon. When you pour all your emotions into someone before knowing if they are worthy, you put yourself in a vulnerable position. Give gradually. Let them prove their value before you give your attention. Second, focus on what you can control. You cannot control her thoughts or emotions, but you can control your own reactions. Every time you feel the urge to react immediately, stop. Breathe. Evaluate the situation logically. A man who detaches from emotions does not mean he feels nothing. On the contrary, he feels everything but does not let them dictate his actions. And that is what makes him strong, attractive, and impossible to manipulate. There is nothing less attractive than a man who tries to be something he is not. Trying to impress, trying to please, trying to present a perfect image, all of it backfires. Women may not say it, but they can feel when a man is not being genuine. And when that happens, attraction disappears instantly. A high-value man does not need to pretend. He does not need to act tougher, smarter, or more interesting than he really is. He knows who he is and has no need to please others by changing himself. When you live authentically, you create natural attraction. You don't have to try to be desirable. You are desirable simply because you hide nothing. Many men fall into the trap of being fake because they fear rejection. They believe that if they show their true selves, they might not be good enough. But the truth is, when you try to play a role, you make yourself weak. A truly strong man is willing to be rejected. He does not worry about whether someone likes him or not, because he does not need validation to feel valuable. Think about the most charismatic men you have ever met. They are not the ones constantly trying to please others. They have their own beliefs, their own standards, and they do not change them just to make someone happy. Some people may dislike them, but they are also respected, and that is what truly matters. To become the truest version of yourself, you must stop seeking approval from others. Do not change your opinions just because someone disagrees with you. Do not hide what you truly want out of fear of being judged. Do not try to be the kind of man you think women will like. Be the kind of man you respect. When you are truly authentic, you will realize that the right people will be drawn to you, and the wrong ones will naturally fade away. And that is exactly what you want, because a high-value man does not need everyone to like him. He simply lives by his values and lets the right people find him. Your ego is your greatest enemy. It makes you jealous, insecure, and constantly feel the need to prove something. It makes you fear failure, fear being looked down on, and fear losing control. But ironically, these very fears are what cause you to lose control completely. Have you ever seen men who try too hard to prove themselves? They brag about their money, career, or achievements just to impress women. They overreact to criticism, feel insulted over harmless jokes, and can't handle being ignored or rejected. And the result? They become less attractive. No one respects a man who is easily shaken by his own ego. Freeing yourself from your ego doesn't mean becoming weak or indifferent. It means you stop reacting like a child every time you're tested. A truly strong man doesn't need to prove himself to anyone. He doesn't overreact when teased, doesn't get jealous when she talks to another man, and doesn't need to be the center of attention to feel valuable. He knows his worth isn't determined by how others perceive him. When you control your ego, life becomes simpler. You no longer feel the need to argue just to win. You stop wasting time worrying about what others think of you. You stop living in fear of being hurt or abandoned. You become truly free, and that's what makes you impossible to ignore. How to free yourself from ego? The answer is simple. Don't react immediately. When someone insults you, let it pass. When she tests you, smile instead of getting angry. When you feel the urge to brag or show off, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this for myself or because I want validation? If the answer is the latter, stop immediately. A man who controls his ego cannot be manipulated. He has nothing to prove, and that alone forces others to respect him. A high-value man does not chase validation. He does not fear rejection or losing approval. He is not controlled by emotions, not ruled by ego, and does not live to please others. He sets boundaries, focuses on self-improvement, and builds a life that people want to be a part of. When you apply these 7 rules, you will feel a dramatic shift. You will become calmer, stronger, and more magnetic. Women will feel your energy, not through flashy words or exaggerated actions, but through the deep confidence within you. They won't be drawn to you because you're chasing them, but because they want to be around a man who cannot be shaken. The world won't wait for you. Either you change or you stay average. The choice is yours. Thank you for watching. Support this amazing community by subscribing and turning on notifications now. Hit like and share your experience in the comments to spread positive energy today. Together, we can inspire and uplift each other on this journey.